ladies and gentlemen. The United Kingdom requested an Emergency Security Council meeting today because we are gravely concerned at the escalating events over the last 24 hours in Ukraine. After some procedural wrangling, a public meeting at which the permanent representative of Ukraine was able to speak was held, followed by consultations. The role of the Security Council, as the international body charged with international peace and security, must be to try to lower tensions and de-escalate the situation. I shall not repeat everything I said in the public session, but I should say that the United Kingdom fully supports Ukraine's new government, which faces a threat to its sovereignty and territorial integrity. We see no justification for the Russian military activities in Crimea or elsewhere in Ukraine. We condemn any aggression against Ukraine. The unity, independence, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine are non-negotiable. In the consultations, I pressed again for a Russian explanation for its military actions. I also asked why Russia had not responded to attempts from the government in Kiev to engage in bilateral dialogue with Moscow, and why Russia had not responded to proposals for the signatories of the 1994 Budapest Memorandum to meet. And I recall that under that memorandum, there is a clear obligation on the part of all signatories, including Russia, to refrain from the threat of the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of Ukraine. There was no response from Ambassador Churkin to these points. I also supported the idea of the UN Special Envoy, Robert Serry, perhaps with OSCE and wider international involvement, going to the Crimea to help to calm tensions. My Prime Minister has been in contact with President Putin. My Foreign Secretary has been in touch with Mr. Lavrov and the acting President of Ukraine. The Foreign Secretary is also going to Kiev on Sunday. There will be meetings of the Foreign Affairs Council, NATO, the OSCE, and the Council of Europe in the next few days, as the international community does all that it can to prevent further escalation of this crisis. And the Security Council will also be monitoring events very closely.
Mr. Ambassador. Yes.
Mr. Ambassador, is the situation so grave that we have to start to think, the people, the community has to start to think of ghosts of the past? I mean, the Harry is the same, he's hero. Are you saying here that the situation is escalating in a way that Great Britain, we know, in 1939, there was another country, was a his hero. What do you think, what your country, what we should, as a public opinion, should think about this crisis now?
Well, some of those parallels, as you've heard, have been made by members of the Council. What we are determined to do is to try and reduce the tension, de-escalate the situation, and protect the territorial integrity, sovereignty, and unity of Ukraine. We have made it very clear that we see no justification for the Russian military activities over the last 48 hours, and we have heard from them no justification for those activities.
I want to ask about the Budapest Memorandum. There's been a lot of talk about it. It seems like it requires the UK, Russia, to seek immediate Security Council action if there's a threat of force. So have you complied with, is this the end of your duties, or do you have a duty to would you have a duty to defend Ukraine? And it also seems to commit the UK and others to refrain from economic coercion. So some people have been saying that on both sides the economic coercion factor has been played. Has this memorandum been complied with since '94, or is it just sort of pulled out at this time as a convenient document?
Well, clearly this document has become very relevant in the last few days, and we believe that the first step should be a meeting of the signatories of the Budapest Memorandum, as Ukraine government has suggested should take place. Proposals have been made for a meeting of the three signatories as early as Monday, but so far Russia has not agreed to that meeting.
Ambassador, do you think today's meeting succeeded in reducing the tensions and de-escalating the situation? And my second question is, do you have any more information about Robert Sari's mission and why he didn't go to Crimea today? He said that he spoke to the Crimean authorities and then decided not to go. Is it because they asked him not to come for political reasons, or was it purely logistical?
I hope that today's meetings will have some impact on the ground. You will have heard Ambassador Churkin saying in the chamber that President Putin had not yet taken any action, decided to take any action on the decision of the Parliament. I hope he would have heard, and the international community as a whole would have heard a very clear message from members of the international community that no such action should be taken.
Ambassador,
On your second point about Robert Sari, our understanding is that Robert Sari has been trying to go to Crimea over the last 24, 48 hours, but the airspace is closed and he has not been able to do so. We asked for an explanation or a confirmation whether the airspace had indeed been closed, but I got no